I pulled into the driveway of my Wisconsin lake house on a Thursday afternoon in late September, expecting silence and the gentle sound of water lapping against the dock. What I got instead was the high-pitched voice of my daughter-in-law squealing, "Okay, everyone, this is the reveal of our lake house master bedroom. Isn't it just gorgeous?" I sat frozen in my car, watching through the window as Melissa held up her phone, panning across my bedroom that had been completely transformed. My grandmother's quilt was gone. The family photos that had sat on the dresser for 15 years were nowhere to be seen. Instead, there were white, fluffy pillows, artificial flowers, and a neon sign that said Lake Life. My son David stood behind her, holding a ring light. I got out of my car and walked toward the house. This was going to be interesting. Let me back up and tell you how we got here. My name is Patricia. I'm 62 years old, and until 3 months ago, I thought I had a pretty good relationship with my son. I'm a retired nurse, spent 30 years in labor and delivery at Madison General Hospital. The hours were brutal, but the pay was good and I was careful with my money. My husband Tom died 7 years ago from a heart attack, sudden and devastating, and I'd been on my own ever since. The lake house was something Tom and I bought together back in 1998, when David was just 10 years old. We'd drive up from Madison every summer weekend. Tom taught David to fish off that dock. We had bonfires, roasted marshmallows, watched the stars. After Tom died, I couldn't bear to sell it. It held too many memories, too many pieces of him. David grew up to be a sweet kid, or so I thought. He went to college, got a degree in marketing, and struggled to find his footing in his 20s like a lot of young people do. He worked a series of jobs that never quite panned out, always had some excuse why this one didn't work out, why that opportunity fell through. When he was 28, he met Melissa at some networking event. She was pretty, I'll give her that. Long blonde hair, always perfectly made up, always taking photos of everything. She called herself a lifestyle content creator and brand strategist. I didn't really understand what that meant, but David was smitten. They got engaged after 6 months. David called me, excited, talking about wedding plans. They wanted a destination wedding in Mexico, 150 guests, the works. The quote came back at $80,000. "Mom," David said on the phone, his voice careful. "I know it's a lot, but Melissa's parents are going through some financial difficulties right now, and we were hoping maybe you could help us out. It's your only son's wedding." I should have said no right then. But I looked at the photo of Tom on my mantel, remembered our own simple wedding at the courthouse, and thought maybe David deserved something better. So I wrote the check. $50,000. They compromised and had it at a resort in Cancun with 100 guests. The wedding was beautiful, I won't lie. But I noticed Melissa was more focused on getting the perfect shots for her Instagram than actually enjoying the moment. She made the photographer retake their first kiss 3 times because the lighting wasn't right. A year later, they called again. They'd found their dream house in a trendy neighborhood in Milwaukee. Just needed help with the down payment. $30,000. I told myself this was an investment in their future, in potential grandchildren. Then there were the emergencies. Melissa's car broke down, $1,500. David lost his job and needed help with rent for 3 months, $4,000. Melissa's brand consulting business had a slow quarter. Could I help? $3,000. The water heater burst, $2,000. I kept a spreadsheet. I'm a nurse, we're detail-oriented people. Over 4 years of marriage, I'd given them $95,000. $95,000 that I'd earned through night shifts and double shifts and missing holidays to work. And you know what? I rarely saw them. They were always too busy. Melissa had to film content. David had networking events. They'd come to Thanksgiving for 2 hours, long enough for Melissa to get photos of the meal for her thankful and blessed post. Then they'd leave to have dinner with her sister. They never invited me to their house. Not once in 4 years. 3 months ago, David called with another request. "Mom, I have a huge favor to ask. Melissa's really been struggling to grow her platform. Her engagement rates are down and she lost a couple of brand partnerships. She needs new content, fresh locations. You know how small our house is. It's hard to film there. Could we possibly stay at the lake house for a few weeks? She just needs some inspiration, some different backdrops. It would really help us out." I hesitated. The lake house was my sanctuary, my place to think about Tom, to have peace and quiet. But David sounded so desperate. Please, Mom. We'll take really good care of it. We'll water your plants, we'll keep everything clean, Melissa promised. And honestly, it would help you too. The place has been sitting empty. It's good to have someone there to keep an eye on things. Against my better judgment, I agreed. 2 weeks, I told him. Just 2 weeks. You're a lifesaver, Mom. Thank you so much. We'll make sure everything's perfect when you come back. That was in June. It was now late September, and I hadn't been back to the lake house since. I'd been dealing with some health issues. Nothing serious, just age catching up with me, and I'd been focused on physical therapy for my knee. David texted me occasional updates. House is great. Thanks again, Mom. Really helping Melissa's content. Then last Tuesday, I got a phone call from Linda Chen, my real estate attorney. Linda had handled the purchase of the lake house, and we'd stayed friendly over the years. Patricia, she said, her voice tight, I need you to come to my office. Today, if possible. What's wrong? I got a very strange call yesterday from a title company. Someone's trying to do a quit-claim deed transfer on your lake house property. They're claiming you're gifting it to your son and his wife. My blood ran cold. I never agreed to that. I know. That's why I'm calling. They sent over preliminary paperwork that has a forged signature. It's pretty obviously not your signature, which is why the title company flagged it and called me. But Patricia, someone is actively trying to steal your house. I was in Linda's office within an hour. She showed me the documents. There it was, a quit-claim deed transferring ownership of 1847 Lakeshore Drive from Patricia Ann Morrison to David James Morrison and Melissa Rose Morrison. The signature was supposed to be mine. It wasn't even close. Who submitted this? I asked. A paralegal from some online legal service. Cheap operation. My guess is your daughter-in-law found a way to file this thinking no one would check too carefully. If it had gone through, they would have owned your house. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. My own son, trying to steal my house. Linda leaned forward. Patricia, I need you to go to that house. Today, I need you to document everything. Take photos, and I need you to serve them with a notice to vacate. I've already drawn up the papers. You have grounds for trespassing and attempted fraud. They're my son and daughter-in-law. They're criminals, Patricia. I know that's hard to hear, but what they're doing is illegal. If you don't act now, this could get much worse. She handed me a folder. Inside were copies of my original deed, my property tax records, photos of my signature for comparison, and a legal notice to vacate the premises within 48 hours. Keep this in your car at all times, Linda said. I have a feeling you're going to need it. That's why I had all my documentation with me when I pulled up to the lake house that Thursday afternoon. I wasn't planning to go, but Linda's call changed everything. And now here I was, watching my son and daughter-in-law film content in my house like they owned it. I walked up the porch steps. Through the window, I could see they'd completely redecorated my living room too. My comfortable, worn furniture was gone, replaced with some modern white couches that looked like no one could actually sit on them. There were houseplants everywhere, the fake Instagram kind that require no actual care. I tried the door. Locked. I had to use my own key to get into my own house. The moment I stepped inside, Melissa's voice called out from upstairs. Babe, did you forget something? I thought you were going to the store for. She appeared at the top of the stairs and froze when she saw me. What are you doing here? She demanded. Not hi, Patricia. Not, oh! What a surprise. Just immediate hostility. I could ask you the same question, I said calmly. This is my house, Melissa. She came down the stairs, her phone still in her hand, recording. I could see the red light. David said you were letting us stay here. We've been taking care of it. You should be thanking us. I said 2 weeks in June. It's late September. That's over 3 months. Well, things changed. We needed more time. David said you wouldn't mind. Where is David? He went to the store. He'll be back in like 20 minutes. She crossed her arms, still holding that phone, still recording. Honestly, I don't know why you're being so dramatic. It's not like you were using this place. I looked around at what they'd done to my home. Everything that made it mine, everything that connected it to Tom was gone. Where are my things, Melissa? My photos, my furniture, my grandmother's quilt? Oh, that old stuff. She waved her hand dismissively. We put it in storage. It wasn't working with the aesthetic. My followers want to see aspirational content, not some dusty old lady's house. I took a deep breath. 30 years in nursing teaches you patience. I dealt with screaming patients, difficult doctors, life and death situations. I could handle an entitled 26-year-old. This dusty old lady owns this house, I said quietly. And you're going to return every single item you took and then you're going to leave. Melissa laughed. Actually laughed. I don't think so. David said this house was going to be ours eventually anyway. We're just getting a head start on making it actually nice. David said that? Yeah. He said after you die, we'd inherit it. So why not start using it now? Makes sense to me. The cold calculation in her voice made my skin crawl. She'd actually thought about my death, about inheriting my property, and decided she didn't want to wait. Melissa, I said, keeping my voice level, I need you to listen very carefully. This house is not going to be yours. Not now, not ever. You need to pack your things and leave. Or what? She stepped closer. Her phone camera pointed right at me. You'll call the police? Go ahead. We'll tell them you gave us permission to be here. It's our word against yours. And I have thousands of followers who'll support me. Actually, I said, reaching into my bag and pulling out Linda's folder, I have documentation that proves I own this property. Tax records, the deed, everything. And I also have documentation showing that you tried to illegally transfer ownership using a forged signature. Her face went white. I don't know what you're talking about. Really? Because my attorney has copies of the quit-claim deed with my forged signature. The one your online legal service tried to file last week. That's fraud, Melissa. That's a felony. That was David, said you'd agreed. It was just to make things easier. I agreed to nothing. I put the folder on the counter. Here's what's going to happen. You have 48 hours to vacate this property and return everything you removed. If you're not gone by Saturday at noon, I'm filing trespassing charges. And I'm pressing charges for the attempted fraud regardless. You can't do this. This is my content house. Do you know how many videos I've filmed here? I have brand commitments. I have sponsorships. I told Bath and Body Works I'd film here next week. They're paying me $5,000. And there it was. You're making money off my property? She realized her mistake, but it was too late. It's not like that. How much, Melissa? How much have you made filming content in my house? That's none of your business. It absolutely is my business. This is my house. Every dollar you've made here is profit from my property. That makes it my business. I pulled out my phone. In fact, I think I'll take a look at your TikTok right now. I opened the app and searched for her username, which I'd seen before on her business cards. Melissa Makes It Happen. 230,000 followers. I scrolled through her recent posts. Video after video filmed in my house. My kitchen. My bedroom. My dock. My living room. The captions made me sick. Master bedroom refresh in our lake house. Number. Lake life number, dream home. Coffee on the dock at OUR. Happy place dar number, lake house number, blessed. Home office tour. Running my business from our Wisconsin getaway number. Boss babe number, lake house life. Hour. 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 Over and over again, claiming my house as theirs. I clicked on a video from 2 weeks ago. Melissa showing off the kitchen, talking about our renovation journey. In the comments, dozens of people asking where they bought things, complimenting their taste. And then I saw it. A pinned comment. Link in bio for all the home decor. Use code Melissa. 20 for 20% off. Shri. She was running affiliate marketing off my house. I kept scrolling. There were brand deals with furniture companies, kitchen appliance makers, bedding companies. Comments from Melissa saying things like, "Yes, this is our second home. We're so blessed to have this lake house retreat. How long have you been doing this?" I asked. Melissa grabbed for my phone, but I stepped back. "Stop looking at my content. That's private." "It's public, Melissa. You posted it publicly. To 200,000 people, claiming my house is yours." The door opened and David walked in carrying grocery bags. He took one look at me, then at Melissa's panicked face, and his expression crumbled. "Mom, I can explain." "Can you? Can you explain why your wife has been making money off my property for months? Can you explain why you tried to forge my signature to steal my house?" "We weren't stealing, Mom, I swear." Melissa just thought we thought it made sense to make it official. You said we could stay here, and you're not getting any younger, and we thought, you thought you'd skip the inheritance and just take it now? I finished. David, I gave you $95,000 over the past 4 years. 95,000 for your wedding, your house, your emergencies. And this is how you repay me? He set down the grocery bags, his hands shaking. I know, Mom. I'm sorry. It got out of hand. Melissa's following was growing and the brand deals were coming in. And we needed this. Her income was supporting us. My job doesn't pay that much. So get a better job, David. Don't steal from your mother. We weren't stealing. You weren't even using it. That's not the point. My voice rose for the first time. This house is mine. Mine and your father's. Every corner of this house has memories of him. And you took it, changed it, erased him like he never existed, also your wife could make money on social media. David's eyes filled with tears. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't think about it like that, Melissa said. I don't care what Melissa said. You're my son. You should have protected this place, protected these memories, protected me. Instead, you helped her turn it into a content factory. Melissa crossed her arms. Oh, please, with the dramatics. It's just a house. And those photos and that old furniture were depressing anyway. Nobody wants to see that online. Jetu, I said quietly. What? Get out. Both of you. Right now. You can't kick us out, Melissa shrieked. It's going to be dark in a few hours. Where are we supposed to go? I don't care. Hotel, car, back to Milwaukee. Not my problem. You have 48 hours to get your belongings out completely, but you're not spending another night under my roof. Mom, please, David begged. It's late. Let us just stay tonight. We'll leave first thing in the morning, please. I looked at my son. Really looked at him. When had he become this person? This weak, spineless man who let his wife walk all over everyone, including his own mother. No, I said. If you stay, I'm calling the police right now and having you arrested for trespassing. Your choice. Melissa looked at David. She's bluffing. She won't really call the cops on her own son. I pulled out my phone and dialed 911. Wait, David shouted. Okay, we'll go, just don't call them. I hung up. Start packing. You have 30 minutes. They went upstairs. I could hear Melissa screaming at David, blaming him, calling me horrible names. I walked through the house, documenting everything on my phone. The camera setup, the ring lights, the stage decor. I found receipts showing she'd charged brands $1,500 for location fees to film in her lake house. In the closet, I found all my things. The photos of Tom shoved in a box, glass cracked on one frame. My grandmother's quilt stuffed in a trash bag. Tom's fishing poles that had hung on the wall, thrown carelessly in a corner. I carefully took out the photo of Tom and me on our 20th anniversary, taken right here at this lake. We were sitting on the dock, his arm around me, both of us laughing at something. I traced his face with my finger. I'm sorry, I whispered. I'm sorry I let this happen. David and Melissa came downstairs 23 minutes later with 3 suitcases and multiple bags of camera equipment. This is abuse, Melissa hissed at me. Kicking out your own family. I'm going to post about this. Everyone's going to know what kind of person you are. Go ahead, I said. Post about how you committed fraud and used someone else's property without permission to make money. I'm sure your followers will love that. And while you're at it, explain the forged signature to them, too. She opened her mouth, then closed it. David paused at the door. Mom, I really am sorry. I know I messed up. I'll make this right. You should have made it right months ago, David. You should have never let it get this far. They left. I watched their car disappear down the driveway. Then I locked the door, sat down on their stupid white couch, and cried. Over the next 48 hours, I worked like a woman possessed. I moved all their staged furniture into the garage. I brought back all my original things, cleaned them, put them back where they belonged. I hung Tom's fishing poles on the wall. I put our photos back on every surface. I made the house mine again. On Saturday morning at 10, David came back with a moving truck. Melissa wasn't with him. Where's your wife? I asked. At her sister's. She said she couldn't face you. He looked terrible, like he hadn't slept in days. Mom, can we talk? Please? I let him in, but I didn't offer him coffee or make small talk. We sat in the living room, surrounded by the restoration of my home. I've spent the past 2 days thinking, David said. Really thinking. About what I've done. What I've become. And you're right. About all of it. I know I'm right. Melissa made $43,000 filming content here over the past 3 months. Brand deals, affiliate links, sponsored posts. She didn't pay you a cent. She didn't ask permission for any of it. And I let her. I helped her. I held the ring light and told her it was fine, that you wouldn't mind. Why, David? Why would you do that to me? He wiped his eyes. Because it was easier than standing up to her. Because her income was supporting us, and I was afraid if I said no, she'd leave me. Because I've spent our entire marriage trying to keep her happy, and I lost sight of everything else. Including you. You tried to steal my house. That was all Melissa's idea. But I went along with it. She said it would be easier for tax purposes, that it made sense since we were going to inherit it anyway. And I was stupid enough to believe her. Or maybe I wanted to believe her. Mom, I know this doesn't fix anything, but I want you to know I've already contacted a lawyer. I'm filing for divorce. I looked up sharply. David. I mean it. I can't do this anymore. The lying, the manipulation, the using people. That's not who I want to be. It's not who Dad would have wanted me to be. He pulled out an envelope. This is $8,000. It's everything I have in my savings. I know it doesn't come close to what I owe you, but it's a start. I'm going to pay you back every penny, even if it takes the rest of my life. I took the envelope but didn't open it. What about your house? Your life? We're going to have to sell. Melissa's brand deals dried up the moment she couldn't film here anymore. Turns out aspirational lake house content was her whole appeal. Without that, she lost most of her sponsorships. We can't afford the mortgage. And honestly, good. I don't want a life built on lies and stolen property. Where will you go? I'm moving back to Madison, getting a smaller apartment, something I can actually afford. I'm going back to school too, online program for project management. I'm 35 years old and I'm starting over. But I think I need to. I studied my son's face. He looked older than his years, worn down by years of living beyond his means and compromising his integrity. But I also saw something I hadn't seen in a long time. Determination. David, I need you to understand something. What you did, what you both did, it wasn't just about the house or the money. You erased your father. You took a place that meant everything to me, everything to us as a family, and you turned it into a prop. That's what hurts most. I know. And I can never take that back, but Mom, I promise you I'm going to become someone Dad would be proud of again. Even if it takes years, even if you never forgive me. I didn't say I'd never forgive you. But forgiveness takes time, David. And it requires you to actually change, not just say you will. He nodded, standing up. I understand. I'll start loading my stuff. All of Melissa's staging furniture is in the garage. I'll take it all. And Mom? Thank you. For not pressing charges. You would have been within your rights. I haven't decided if I'm pressing charges yet, I said honestly. Linda thinks I should. She says it would send a message. His face paled, but he nodded. Whatever you decide, I'll accept it. I deserve it. After he left with the last load, I called Linda. Don't press charges, I said. Not against David, at least. He's my son. But Melissa, I want to pursue every legal option we have. Are you sure? She'll claim David was equally responsible. Let her try. I have documentation of her income from my property. I have the forged signature that benefits her. David's cooperating fully, and he's divorcing her. Let a judge sort out who's more culpable. All right. I'll draw up the papers. Patricia, for what it's worth, I think you're doing the right thing. Setting boundaries doesn't make you a bad mother. But lying in bed that night in my restored lake house, surrounded by photos of Tom and listening to the familiar sounds of the water, I wondered if I'd done the right thing. David was my only child. Was I too harsh? Should I have just let it go? Then I thought about the photo of Tom and me, the one that had been shoved in a box with cracked glass. I thought about my grandmother's quilt in a trash bag. I thought about Melissa standing in my living room, calculating how much money she could make off my grief and memories. No, I did the right thing. 3 years passed. I didn't hear from David much in that first year, just occasional emails updating me on his progress. He got his degree. He found a job with a good company in Madison. Steady work with benefits. His divorce went through. Melissa tried to spin the story on social media, painting herself as a victim, but when my lawyer released a statement with evidence of fraud, her remaining followers turned on her. Last I heard, she'd deleted all her accounts and moved back to her hometown in Ohio. I spent those 3 years reclaiming my life. I volunteered at the hospital where I used to work, helping in the NICU when they were short-staffed. I joined a grief support group and finally processed Tom's death properly instead of just pushing through. I made the lake house exactly what I wanted it to be, no compromises. Then one Sunday morning in November, my phone rang. David. Hi, Mom. Hello, David. I know I don't have any right to ask this, but could I come see you? At the lake house? There's someone I'd like you to meet. My heart clenched. Someone? Yeah. Her name is Rachel. She's a nurse at the hospital where I do IT support. We've been dating for 8 months. She doesn't know I'm calling you. She doesn't even know about everything that happened. But I want to tell her, and I want her to meet you, if you're willing. I looked out at the lake, at the trees bare of leaves, at the dock where Tom taught David to fish. What's she like? I asked. She's nothing like Melissa, he said quickly. She works 3 jobs to save up for her own house. She drives a 15-year-old Honda. She thinks influencers are ridiculous. Mom, she's real. She's kind. She reminds me of you, actually. Despite everything, I smiled. Okay, you can come. Next Saturday? Really? Really? But David, if you hurt me again, I won't. I swear on Dad's memory, I won't. The following Saturday, I spent the morning cooking Tom's favorite chili recipe, the one David grew up eating. When the car pulled up, I watched from the window. David got out first, looking nervous. Then a young woman emerged from the passenger side. She was pretty in a natural way, no makeup, hair in a simple ponytail, wearing jeans and a sweater. She wasn't taking photos. She was looking at the lake house with simple appreciation, pointing at the dock, saying something to David that made him smile. I opened the door before they could knock. Mom, David said, and his voice broke. Mom, I'm so sorry. For everything. I looked at him, really looked at him. He'd aged, but in a good way. He looked healthy, stable, like he'd found solid ground. I know you are, I said. Come in, both of you. Rachel extended her hand. Mrs. Morrison, it's so nice to meet you. David's told me so much about this place. Your husband built that dock himself? He did. With David's help, actually. David was 12, convinced he was going to nail his own hand to the board. I almost did, David laughed. Remember how Dad made me wear gloves for a week after? We sat in the living room, surrounded by the photos and memories that had been restored. Rachel noticed them immediately. Is this you and Mr. Morrison? She asked, picking up the anniversary photo. 20 years, I said. Taken right here. You can see how happy you were, she said softly. The way he's looking at you. That's real love. David cleared his throat. Rachel, there's something I need to tell you. About why Mom and I didn't talk for a long time. About what I did. And he told her everything. The money, the lies, Melissa, the attempted fraud, all of it. I watched Rachel's face carefully. She didn't interrupt, didn't make excuses for him, just listened. When he finished, she was quiet for a long moment. David, she finally said, that's awful. That's one of the worst things I've ever heard. He nodded miserably. But, she continued, you owned it. You made it right. You've spent 3 years rebuilding yourself. That takes courage. She turned to me. Mrs. Morrison, I can't imagine how much he hurt you. If you don't want me here, I completely understand. Call me Patricia, I said. And I do want you here. Anyone who works 3 jobs to save for their own house instead of trying to steal someone else's is all right in my book. David laughed, surprised, and then he was crying. Thank you, Mom. Thank you for giving me another chance. You're my son, I said simply. You made mistakes. Terrible mistakes. But you've spent 3 years proving you learned from them. That matters. We had lunch together. Rachel asked about nursing, about my career, about Tom. She was genuinely interested, not performing for some invisible audience. When it was time to leave, she gave me a hug. I hope we can do this again, she said. I'd love to hear more stories about Mr. Morrison. And maybe you could teach me to make that chili? David says it's the best he's ever had. I'd like that, I said. After they left, I sat on the dock as the sun set over the lake. Tom would have liked Rachel, I thought. He would have been proud of David for finally growing up, even if it took him way too long. I pulled out my phone and looked at Melissa's now defunct TikTok account one last time. All her videos were gone, replaced with a message. This account has been deactivated. Good riddance. I thought about the women in my grief support group, the ones who told stories about children who only called when they needed money, about feeling used and discarded. I thought about the comment section on those videos Melissa used to post, full of people saying goals and blessed without realizing it was all built on lies and stolen property. The truth is, supporting your children is good, loving them is good. But there's a line between support and enabling, between love and being used. I'd crossed that line without even realizing it, and it took almost losing my son completely for both of us to see it. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is say no. Sometimes the best gift you can give someone is letting them fall so they learn to stand on their own. I don't know what the future holds for David and me. We're rebuilding slowly, carefully. He comes to the lake house once a month now, always with Rachel, and they help me with projects. Last month they helped me refinish the dock. David worked carefully, remembering everything Tom taught him. Dad would be proud of you, I told him as we stood back and admired our work. I hope so, he said. I'm trying to be someone he'd be proud of. You're getting there, I said, and I meant it. The lake house is mine again, truly mine. Every photo is where it belongs. Every memory is honored. And when I sit on the porch in the evening, I can almost hear Tom's voice in the wind through the trees, telling me I did the right thing. I think he'd be proud of me too.